Hey everybody, Rita Esther here from the website called FromAwkwardToAwesome.com. And let me just introduce myself really quick. My name, like I just said, was Rita Esther, and I'm 38 years old, and I have the diagnosis of Asperger's, as well as my oldest son, who is 15. And then I have two more, the twins, who are 13, and definitely not Asperger's at all. So today I want to talk about you and your child who just got diagnosed with Asperger's, because it's kind of a trying time in your life and you're probably thinking, like, now what? Well, I've come up with I have it on my little tablet here, 6 tips to help you, I guess, transition from I don't even know what's going on because my kid just is not coping well with life, to 6 tips to help you whenever you get that initial Asperger's diagnosis, because I know that it was life-changing both for me whenever I was diagnosed and for my son whenever he was diagnosed. So first of all, tip number one is to love them. This is your baby. It is your job as a parent to protect your child and to love your child. So love them, even if you are what we call neurotypical. They're different than you are. And if you're also Asperger's, then maybe you can really relate to your child like I do. Second of all is to be patient. It's very hard as a child with Asperger's to understand social cues, to understand what's expected of them socially, how to interact and communicate with people. So just be patient and be there to teach them, like, no, this isn't appropriate. You shouldn't say it this way. Maybe if you try saying it that way, it'll help. The third thing is to really explore with your child what having Asperger's means. Now, when my son was diagnosed, we talked a lot about other people who have or are suspected of having Asperger's, such as like Albert Einstein. Now, I don't know about your kid, but mine's really smart. And so to hear for him to hear that he's on the same level as people like Albert Einstein, that really helped him embrace the diagnosis instead of fighting it. The next thing is to focus on the positives. And that kind of piggybacks on the last one, which is explore what it means. But to focus on the positives, most people who have Asperger's or autism are really bright, talented individuals. And the talent can come in many different ways, whether it's musically, whether it's mechanically. Like, personally, I'm very mechanically talented. I can see something and understand how it works. I can take things apart and put them back together again, a lot of times making them more efficient in the process. But find out where your child shines and then brag on it. Make sure that they see you bragging on their accomplishments and their gifts, because we all have our gifts, whether we're neurotypical or not. We have our gifts for the world, and it's up to you as a parent to help your child explore those gifts so they can share them with everyone else. The fifth tip I have, getting tongue twisted here. The fifth tip that I have is to find the triggers so that way that you can avoid them. Now, people who have autism and Asperger syndrome, we get overwhelmed, and for a lot of us, it is a sensory issue, like too much input. That's what I say. I'm at work and it's too much, and my people at work know me and they love me, but I'll tell them, okay guys, too much input, Rita needs some alone time real quick, and I'll just take a break and go to my office and close the door and get over it. Okay, for my son, it was being criticized in front of his peers. Whenever a teacher would have anything to say about his work in front of his classmates, he would have a meltdown. Or if he got fussed at for maybe not walking right in line or whatever, if it was in front of his people, his peers, his peeps, he would just have a meltdown and go crying and running, and you'd find him in the bathroom curled up in a ball in the stall, which is really sad. And since the diagnosis, we've learned that that's a big trigger for him to be criticized in front of other people. So part of our IEP is that if the teacher has anything to say to him, it's said one-on-one instead of in front of everybody. And that's made a huge difference. He hasn't had a meltdown in years now. I mean, like seriously, like probably since 7th grade, he hasn't had a meltdown at school. So I don't get those phone calls anymore. And if you are a parent of a child with Asperger's, you know what kind of phone calls I'm talking about. Now, my personal triggers are very sensory also related. I don't like too much, like I said, too much input. One of my biggest problems or things that trigger me the most is actually going through the entrance at Walmart of all things. I hate going through that entrance. They have these fans. I'm in Louisiana, so I don't know if it's like this everywhere. But here, they have these fans that blow down really, really hard when you first walk in. And what that is to keep the bugs from going in the store because the bugs can't travel through this fan curtain. But I hate those fans. They blow on me. And then they have the section over usually to my left that has like all the carts. And if there's people getting carts out or the employees putting the carts back in, it's very echoey and loud and noisy. And then there's that person at the end who's trying, the greeter, who's trying to say hello. And all those things that combine at once is just too much input. So instead of like going through that, navigating that gauntlet, if I have to go to Walmart, because I hardly ever go, if I do, I go on off hours, or if I have to go during like a regular, like when it's busy, I'll try to go through like the automotive or the garden entrance to avoid that sensory overload, because I will seriously have a panic attack at Walmart because there's too much input. So that's just like I said, just try to find those triggers and then things that you can do to avoid those things, because there's no reason to have to face them if you don't want to, if you don't have to. And I mean, some people's train of thought is, well, if I expose my kid to this, and they'll get over it. That's not the case with Asperger's. It's not. It only makes it worse. It makes us panic. Like, oh my gosh, I have to go through this again. So try to work around it and avoid those things, and then you'll be much happier, and your kid will be much happier also. And then finally, last tip is to set them up for success. Now, we all have our gifts, whether we're neurotypical or Asperger's or anything in between. Make sure that your kid knows how proud you are of their gifts. I don't care if it's musical, if it's academic, if it's I'm such a nerd. Like if it's like computer nerd stuff where, you know, maybe they're learning HTML or coding or something like that. Like brag on them in front of people. Let them see that you're proud of their accomplishments, because these are the things that help them stand with their shoulders tall, and they know that, yeah, I'm weird, yeah, I'm different, yeah, I'm quirky, but you know what? That's what makes me awesome. If I wasn't weird and quirky and different, then I'd be just like every other guy. And like really, Asperger's to me is a gift, and it's a gift for me to share with other people. It's what's made me successful in my personal and professional life. If it weren't for Asperger's, I wouldn't be where I am at today. I manage a multi-million-dollar company in direct sales, and I'm very successful in what I do, and it's because of my Asperger's. It's because I'm able to analyze things. You know, like I said earlier, I'm able to take things apart and put them back together. I do the same thing with business, where I can take everything apart and then put it back together and make it more efficient. So if it weren't for those qualities that I have, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would be just a regular entry level, just learning person at the office. And instead I run the place. So it's because of my Asperger's. And it wasn't until I got the diagnosis that I learned, like, oh, Rita, these are the things that you're good at. Let's focus on this and eliminate the negatives and accentuate the positives. And before you know it, I'm running the place. 5 short years later. Well, actually, I've been running it for 2 years. So 3 short years later, I'm running the place instead of being middle management. So anyway, I hope these things have helped you guys. So there's 6 things that have really helped me with my child and with my journey with Asperger's. And if it has helped, please go over to, I don't think, it's not ready yet, okay? But go over to FromAwkwardToAwesome.com. It's currently in development, but hopefully by the time you see this video, it will be like up and ready to go. And sign up for my VIP email list, and that way you'll get any kind of tips and tricks in your email box. Also, I'm going to be exploring tons of topics on this because I'm very passionate about it, and I want to share my knowledge with you. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!